going on, everybody? Greetings and good vibes. Greetings and good vibes. Welcome back to the Leon Block. I'm your guy, John Tell, here with another episode. We have a guest on tonight. First time. Uh, you're a blog, right? Newsroom, Purple Room Politics. Please introduce yourself, brother.
Hi, I'm Damon. I'm from Purple Room Politics. It's kind of like I call it like the shade room for politics in a way.
Got you. That makes sense. So, like, how long have you been, around?
It's been over a year, but this is my second page. So my first page is got. I woke up one day, was going no warning, no anything, and then so this is my second one. But it's been. I started December 2020. So Trump was still in office, and that's when I kind of began.
You know what? The struggles of having like independent media or blogs, because I will tell you, like, when for me, I started in November 2020.
Right.
And last year, my Facebook got hacked, and then like everything else got hacked. So I had to start over. So like, yeah, this is basically my second iteration as well. So I definitely can relate. And then also just starting something off the back of 2020. So I'm guessing, Trump had a big influence on as to like how Purple Room politics got started.
Yeah, I think he kind of woke up like a lot of us. I hate when they use that word. They use that word woke, but he woke us up. Like a lot of us aren't paying attention what was going on. I was one of them. So I just felt like I needed to get people's attention, and then especially like in this world of like memes and things like that, where people just read the headline and then they go run with just the headline. So I wanted to start something that kind of was the same thing, but for politics and truths,
I appreciate that, because I personally, like, I look around and I don't see as many folks doing this as I would like to see. So for me personally, it's a big deal for me to look, around and see somebody else doing something similar.
Right.
Because I think news is very important, and you're right. A lot of us, and myself included, but I've always been pro-Black. I've always been pro information. Like, I grew up watching the news with my grandparents, like, constantly every day, and like talking about issues and stuff. But even then, I didn't really, I guess, think about the impact. And then when Trump came, when Trump, it was real that Trump was our fucking president. All the, like the whole Black Lives Matter movement, that really woke me up, honestly. And that was my segue into information, was realizing how much the narrative, like racist white people that didn't want any, kind of protesting whatsoever, really took the narrative and jumped on, property over people whole thing, and they're rioting kind of thing. And it's like, what, I have a camera and I'm filming the stuff that I'm seeing going on, and then I see on media them lying about it, and I have the proof. Let me just dig further into this and be for our people what we don't have.
Exactly. So that's how I kind of felt like. Well, first of all, Andrew Yang is the person who really kind of got me into politics. I mean, people can. He's in a lot of deep stuff now, but like,
I remember when you first started posting stuff on him.
Yeah, so one day I was just like scrolling the internet, and then he was just like something about robots, like I like technology and something like that. So at first I didn't know what he was talking about. I thought he was like, he hated automation, but it was kind of like the opposite. It was kind of like how automation is kind of going to ruin the society in the future if we don't change our ways. Yes. And then like a lot of his platforms and things like that actually make sense. So like that's what kind of sucked me in, and I'm like, oh well, like, and I read his book and I was watching the town halls out, you know what I mean? I was like really deep into it, and then everybody kind of like was going to vote for him because I posted so much, you know what I mean? And And people were like, oh, I would talk to people about like his platform. They're like, oh, well, you should run. I'm like, well, that's not my platform, you know? Like, so
right.
I'm like, so Purple One Politics is like, where can I contribute? Like, where can I like help get the narrative right or information out there? So that's where like that came in. But he really segued me into politics, and then realizing how like it's not just the president. It's not the, you know what I mean? Like people can focus on Biden and Trump, the presidents, but like they don't hold as much power as the Congress and people who've been there for years and people that we don't pay attention to. You know what I mean? So like you couldn't ask me 3 years ago who Mitch McConnell was. I didn't know. I wouldn't have cared. And you know, and so when people like come to me and say, well, I'm not a politics person. I'm like, well, I wasn't either. You know what I mean? Like, I feel as though like once you learn about it and you get so far deep, like you kind of have like, you have to tell people. You know what I mean? You have a duty to people now, and that's what I feel like Purple Run Politics is. Like, I have a duty to get this information out there, so people, like, so people are like learning. Like, people know more about a rapper's baby mom than you do about your congressman, and then you go online and complain about gas prices and fuel prices and you don't know you're the reason why it's not happening. You know what I mean? Because you're asleep. For real. So that's kind of where I got Purple Room Politics from, and I wanted it to be like when you see Shade Room and like a lot of those big blogs post, like it's all like a negative vibe. It's always like scarcity mindset. Right. Like I used to do some YouTube videos. My YouTube videos are about Yang's candidacy because a lot of the platform made sense. So like, and they talked about like abundance and scarcity, and a lot of these politicians keep people scared, and even in our community, like we're on some scarcity. Like say when America gives Ukraine, like, you know what I mean, $40 billion. So like people think that like that's not, it's okay for them to have it because
no, it's not.
No, it's not. But let me finish though. Let me finish because America brings in trillions and trillions of dollars. We're the richest country in the world, so they say. You know what I mean? So it's just the problem is that when it comes to take care of the people, those same people who say yes to Ukraine say no to the people. So it's not the problem of giving money to the other countries and helping the world out. It's the fact that we have the people in there who don't want to help us. And like AOC, for instance, like AOC probably voted yes to give money to Ukraine, but she also is going to vote to give you a paycheck every month, or she's, you know what I mean, or she's always she's also going to make sure the Social Security blanket is there for people. But then you have people like Republicans who vote yes for Ukraine, but then they'll vote no for you or Joe Manchin or somebody like that. So that's where that's what I'm saying. Like the money is not the issue. That's a scarcity mindset. We're the richest country in the world. We can take care of ourselves and give Ukraine $40 billion because we have trillions and trillions of dollars. But
we really could.
Yeah, but a lot of these blogs and a lot of people keep everybody in the scarcity mindset. Like it's not enough to go around. We can't take care of you and Ukraine. We can't give you out stimulus checks and without high groceries. You know what I mean? Right. A lot of that stuff is not even what causes inflation. You know what I mean? So a lot of it is greed anyway.
Yes. I think there's and you know what? You're kind of dancing around it because I was going to ask you, like, why is politics so important? But a lot of what you're saying is exactly why it's important. It's something that affects all of us, whether we want to be involved in it or not is irrelevant. Whether you like what's going on or not is irrelevant. And I bet you $5 that why you don't like politics is because of the effect that politics is having. And the effect that politics is having is because not enough people have things to say or getting involved enough, which is leading to a lot more people being disinterested in politics because your life sucks. Well, why does your life suck? What are you doing about your life?
Exactly. And a lot of people just don't know, and a lot of people don't know about it, and they make it that way. So like learning about old white men is boring. You know what I mean? Old white men are boring. And that's what our government is made of, and it's made to be that way. It's made to be like when Ted Cruz can get up there and say whatever he wants, and nobody's paying attention to it. All of us are there watching reality shows and worried about whose baby's mom is doing what. All those are distractions. Yes. But the reason people don't like it is I just think a lot of people don't even understand, and they just know the president. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'll see people posting like, oh, well, the president, gas prices, this, gas prices. I'm like, Joe Biden, don't push a button that say gas prices go up. Right. You know what I mean? Like, it's the corporate giants that making their billions and billions of dollars that Trump and everybody else give tax credits. You know what I mean? Tax credits too. They're the ones that control, and people like even the gas and inflation now, like Joe Biden came in and said that, oh, I'm going to tax the companies. You know what I mean? I'm going to tax the rich. And what do you know? We have high-ass inflation. They want to get Joe Biden out of there. And
you know what? I will say, and you probably see me like I don't like Biden. Right. And I'm very critical against him. But I will say a lot of the things that's going on right now are ripple effects from the previous presidency.
It's always like that. It's exactly. And that's where Purple Room politics comes in, because we have to stop that cycle. We have to get more informed. Like a lot of Republicans bet on Black people only coming out every 4 years, or they're not coming out during the midterms when the Republicans take hold. They're not paying attention to the Senate. They're not paying attention to the House members. You know what I mean? So
while we're on that topic, I do want to go down that route, and thank you for reminding me, because I've been wanting to talk with someone about this, and you're the perfect person. So I'm not Democrat or Republican. Though I have more Democrat leaning, obviously more far left leaning. I'm a
progressive.
Right. I'm very, very progressive.
Right.
So, but however, I feel like, we're 2 years in, we're 2 years into this presidency.
Right.
And with everything that we witnessed and went through with Trump, why? And this is solely I'm not speaking to all the millions of people that do not vote. I'm not speaking to Republicans. Right. I'm speaking to Democrats. What is going on? Who is what Democrat is out there for people to vote for that anyone thinks is a good shot for presidency to run for president? I'm confused as to is there anyone? I don't follow echo chambers, and I don't listen to I want to know is there any person out there that anyone's looking at to say, hey, you're going to be the next person to run? I mean, in 2020, in my head, it was AOC, but I don't think she's ready. So
see, there's well, let me go back to what you said about Joe Biden. I never was a Joe Biden fan. So even during the Yang campaign, I used to make stuff against Joe Biden, but I'm on the narrative side that say that. So I'm on the agenda side. I'm on the progressive side. Joe Biden likes to play middle ground, but I'm on the more progressive side. I don't really, I can't say I'm not Republican or Democrat, because there's really no choice but to vote for Democrat. You know what I mean? There's only really a choice. Right. And I'm not voting with people who are racist against me, and it has a party, the white supremacy party. So it's only an obvious choice of who you can be. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying I even like Joe Biden. We just wanted to get rid of Trump. So I think that's another thing that a lot of progressives or a lot of people are missing. Joe Biden was never going to be no Black savior. He was never going to be no Black people this, or he was never going to be that. You know what I mean? Like, and if anybody paid attention to his campaign, you would have known that. You know, you know what I mean?
That's true. That's
like
true.
Joe Biden didn't even want marijuana and nothing like that legal. Like he was some old senile man, and he's playing that well because that's him. Like to me, Joe Biden is doing what Joe Biden was going to do,
right?
And people who expect him to do more or go above and beyond are just wrong, and they haven't been paying attention. You know what I mean? Like they got black people to vote because that's what we're supposed to do. You know what I mean? Like people are coming out. Somebody was saying like, actually it was well, never mind. But, somebody was like, "Oh, what about Kamala Harris? We went out and voted for her, and she's not doing it." I'm like, she's doing what a VP does, like nothing. Not nothing, but like the thing is, people don't realize that it's the Senate and the Congress and the House members who pass the bills. So if we have a 50-50 Senate and we have 2 members voting on the Republican side, every single bill that they try to pass, then we can't get nothing done.
Exactly.
Because it's so close. And that's a result of us. That's a result of us not voting in Democratic senators who, you know what I mean, who have a majority. And that's why it's so critical, like this year, because if we vote and get a Democratic majority this year, then a lot of that stuff Joe Biden wants to pass can actually get through. And to me, it's not like he's holding him back. It's the Senate and the Congress holding him back. Like the House has the majority, so the House passed police reform, the House passed PRO Act. You know what I mean? Like they're passing all these things that actually could help Joe Biden, but as soon as it gets to the Senate, it's like Mitch McConnell's there, and they need 60 votes, and you can't get 60 votes.
Ain't him and Mitch friends? Didn't he always have a way when Obama was there to like smooth talk Mitch? Doesn't he always play the middle ground? Why is he not getting stuff done? I feel like it's less about the parties when it comes to Biden and more about the money, the corporate interest. I feel like that's who he's become beholden to. Right. And I will say, I don't get me wrong, I cannot stand Trump, and I cannot stress that enough. But there was one thing that I liked about Trump is that he was so far different and did so different than everyone else. And he had his own money. So like he wasn't necessarily beholden to these corporate interests and, you know, the Woogieemans who actually do control the country and the world. But I feel like Biden is still one of those people that is playing the corporate interest. He's not, I feel like he's not necessarily saying screw Democrats, but I also feel like he's not doing enough.
Right. See, I think that I'm not thinking the opposite, but like to me, Biden is old. So to me, it's like at this point, he got all his corporate money, he got all his racism, he got all that out a long time ago. Right. And now his focus is basically on how to be. What's his legacy going to be like? You know what I mean? He's focused on his legacy and what he's going to be remembered by. But as far as, again, I think that people who think that he's not doing anything is because they look at the Senate and they're not doing anything. You know what I mean? It's Biden's just the one who signs the paper at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So a bill passes the House, then it passes the Senate, and then Biden just signs it. And if it don't pass the Senate, then where can it go? See, with Trump, he had the Republicans. They you know what I mean? They passed it because he had the House, and he had the Senate. So if you have both houses, if you have all of Congress just passing your shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then it's going to make it seem like you can get stuff done.
But see, that brings me back to what I'm saying is like, I feel like right now Democrats are a mess. It's just a mess. Right. Like no one's on one solid like game plan, and I feel like there's not a solid message. Like we know what the Republicans' messages are loud and clear. Right. It doesn't matter if you're a Trumplican, if you're a conservative. We know y'all viewpoints. Go ahead.
The thing is that in the Democrats you have like the young progressives, like the AOCs, and then you have the Joe Bidens and Nancy Pelosi's. So,
right.
like, they're old liberals. Like, they're old. They don't have really a clue what's going on. They still thinking the government is going to work how it worked in the 90s or the 80s. You know what I mean? It's like, now things are fast. Now things are like, if you don't show me something, then it's not happening. Right. And they think that they're still in the past, and it's like Chuck Schumer will like, oh, we'll bring the bill to a vote in 3 weeks when we get off vacation. Like, no, do that shit now. Right. You know what I mean? And like, you have the AOCs who are like, get that shit done now. So that's where the message is kind of like breaking up. Is like, we got to get these old Democrats out, and that's where like a lot of Black people would be like, well, well, the Democrats did us bad, you know what I mean, too, and all that. Like, if those Democrats did you bad, you know what I mean? Like, those old ones that we need to get up and vote out. Like, we don't, like Nancy Pelosi and they're 80-something years old. Yeah, they don't need to be in there. And Joe Biden, he's 80-something. You know what I mean? Like, we need to get up and we need to get these younger people in there. And that goes back to what you were saying about the who's up next. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't know, you've probably seen it, but I put that on like one of my like stories one day. I'm like, Black people, like, or anybody, if y'all want, if y'all don't like Joe Biden, then like, who's next? Who y'all picking? Because it's like, y'all got to pick them now. And the thing is that the only that y'all worship celebrities so much, it's like the only people y'all know to step up is a celebrity.
Look, these motherfuckers had Trump up in there. Why don't we get Jay-Z up in there? I'm just saying. I'm using an example.
I mean,
like, with people's logic, like we honestly do have more power than we have. Lots of power. We just don't use it. And this is not just specifically speaking to Black folk. This is all people on the bottom echelons of life, whether you're a middle class or you're below poverty, or if you're below the poverty line, or if you're Black, brown, indigenous, doesn't matter. If you're immigrant, like, we all have something to lose here. And I'm kind of just like, I'm walking up to people and slapping them in the head saying, wake up at this point. Because I'm not going to scream. We're in class and I'm the teacher. I'm just going to slap you upside your head and say, wake up. Take your time.
Exactly. and that's how kind of I feel. Like, all right, like, it's like, y'all got to step up. Like, stop caring about whose baby mom is doing what or whatever. And care, like, if you care about this, like, it's not a joke. Like, a lot of Black people, like Black Twitter and stuff like that, they make things like it's a joke. You know what I mean? Like, oh, they the gas price is high. Yeah, but we can do something about it. You know what I mean? Like, all the stuff in the stores is high, but yeah, we can do something about it. I mean, people think like a vote is really that hard, and it's like, it's not. You know what I mean? People go stand in lines at the store every single day, or you stand in line at the club every weekend. So it's like, what is standing in the line once every 2 years or every year to go help your community? Right.
I think for me, because I've never said that I won't vote. I stopped. I said now, I took about it. I'm not going to vote. Period. I'm still registered, because if I find someone that comes along and they hold all the they check all the boxes off for me, I'm going to go vote for specific people, because I want my vote to literally matter, not the number, not saying I'm the 100 millionth person to vote. No, like, and I get that, the more people that vote, it matters. I get that. But going a step further and saying, how do you want the people that you're voting for to literally impact you? That's what I gauge things off of now, right? So I've tried running, and I probably will again. But until then, either I don't vote or I vote for someone that really, really speaks to what I want. And that's what I'm speaking to, is like, if y'all don't like the way that things are, go find those people and get them to run for office, if that's the case. Because, like, for me, I'm not personally going to run for office. Right now I won't, because I don't feel people are ready for me personally. But I'm going to wake other people up to urge them and hope that something wakes up in them, that they're like, oh, you know what? I'm going to do this. I don't care if I have a record or I've got like a sex tape out there. I'm going to go ahead and do this because we had that.
So
that
look at Lauren
that
Boebert. She got her husband, like, you know what I mean? It's people in Congress who got records and
exactly
sex tapes or did some crazy shit.
But honestly, Trump set the new standard. Like if
Yeah.
that can be president, anyone that's done anything with no one's perfect. And I think that's what a lot of people like, oh, you have to be a certain way to be a politician. Well, we don't like politicians because a lot of them are crooked and embezzle money and just suck up stuff. And we don't like the standard of it. We don't like the that comes with politicians. So why don't we change that by being what we want to see?
Exactly. Because it's funny because, like, I told my friend that. I'm like, you should be a politician. And he was like, you know what I mean? Or you should talk more politics because you're actually a smart person and you care about the community. You know what I mean? You hold fundraisers and things like that. I'm like, that's what you need. And, like, you don't, like, you can't complain and then not do anything.
Right.
And I think that's what a lot of us do. But, like, as far as, like you just said, you don't vote. Like, to me, I think that's, like, it's almost counterproductive, only because, like, I'm like the closed mouths don't get fed type of person. And you know what I mean? So if you're not voting, somebody else is there voting for the other side. Or also, you're not the only one feeling that way. So it's a lot of people who say, oh, well, I'm not going to vote. And then, you know what I mean? It's millions of other people who say the exact same thing for the
But no one actually, a lot of those people aren't even sitting back and asking themselves why. They just,
But see, talking about a closed mouth don't get fed. I don't want to have my mouth open to get fed. I want to go get my own food and feed myself.
You know what I mean? Like, actually sit back and ask why. If you want to make those changes, and if the fact that you're not voting is because nothing's getting changed, well, we're in a conundrum here. Something's got to give. A comment from Michael Freeman, he said, you have to offer them a better solution than voting. The political process is corrupt. And I agree. And that's what I was getting at was, like, for me personally, I need more to go with it. You know what I mean?
Well, one thing that people forget is, like, people don't realize it's a lot of money in the politics, which is like Citizens United and things like that. But I also, when people say, well, I never like any of the candidates or they don't pick any, I'm like, well, who did you donate to? You know what I mean? Like, who did you like? The political process is corrupt, but we have to find a balance or a way to counter that. But I'm also not, like, big on, like, a person. I'm big on, like, the message and the agenda and inching us towards something else. So you may not have the full package, but you may help us get to the next level. So
see, for me, it's about the money. Like, I really pay attention to the money that is going into stuff because I want things to be more grassroots and community based.
Right.
And I also, like, maybe I'm being picky, but I want someone that really speaks to as many of my, like, my morals and my wants and needs as possible. Like,
I get that.
I don't want to settle. Like, I don't want
when they get to. It's just that I'm sorry to cut you off, but it's like when they get to Congress, you gotta remember that it's 400 other Congress members, and it's 100 people in the Senate. So they may have your agenda in mind, and they may, you know what I mean? They may want this, and they may tell you this, but then when it gets up to time, it's not that they don't want it. It's just that everybody's blocking it or everybody's against it. So
this is why I say we need a big rush, like a big wave of all these new people flooding for something to really happen.
Well, that's why I made a video called Democracy Dollars. It was based after Andrew Yang, and his thing was to basically give everybody in America like $100 voucher, and the voucher you can go to any politician that you want. So that means that we can counterbalance, like, we can all give our money to the candidate that we want, and it will counterbalance the corporation money. You know what I mean? Like, so it's either like, take this $1 million from, whatever company, Target, or you take this $10 million from the people and give them what they want. It's bad that it has to be that way. It's bad that money's in it, but like we have to come up with solutions that actually counter that. Like I wish Citizens United really, you can have it, or like, and also I feel like we don't have enough like PACs. Like we don't have enough black PACs or like progressive PACs that are on TV. You know what I mean, like that, and making these commercials and things that further the agenda and telling people like, hey, you're voting against yourself. You know what I mean? Like you're voting against your own interests.
That's part of the point.
Right.
I think that's part of the point, and I think that's what frustrates me so much. And speaking of, it's a nice segue. Speaking of the current climate of what's going on and the gun debate, this is something that is at least 25 years ongoing of a debate, and we've gotten nowhere.
Right.
Why? You know, I think it has a lot to. Go ahead.
A lot of it is because that America is stuck on with Bill in the middle of Idaho things, and Bill in the middle of Idaho is unfortunately is the minority in a situation, and they keep Bill in the middle of Idaho scared. You know what I mean? And they keep him. He thinks he needs his guns. So he what he sees on TV, he doesn't want that coming to his farm in the middle of nowhere. So they think they need their guns, and the politicians know that. So the politicians know that they're going to come out and vote for that. They take that Second Amendment to heart, and that's the only amendment, or that's the only law that they take to heart. But like, they don't take like protesting. Like you have a right to protest as well, but they don't. They think that is against the law for some reason. But my thing is like it's pleasing the bill in the Idaho, and we're sick of it. You know what I mean? Like it's time to it's enough. And I don't mind you having a gun that you know what I mean, to protect yourself, because they're already out there. You know what I mean? There's millions of guns already on the street, so there's nothing we really can do about that. But as far as like assault weapons and all that, like ban all that shit. Like I don't want nobody to come in and shoot 10 of us all in 3 minutes. You know what I mean? Or 2 minutes or whatever it is. That's just preposterous to me. Like, and again, like what Whoopi Goldberg was saying, like on my page, like I just scroll up, they post Whoopi. Like as she was saying, I posted it yesterday, so I probably gotta go down. Yeah,
you might say.
Right. So, but yeah, like she was saying, like it's time for it's enough. Like these guns aren't for hunting. They're not for hunting.
Too much at stake here. Too many lives have been at stake, and too many damn little kids. I'm sick of seeing people talk about, well, we should do something. No, we should do something. And I don't care, NRA. You got to give that gun up. You can have your other yeehaw guns, whatever you want. The AR-15 is not a hunting gun. It is not a gun where you're going to go out and shoot your dinner. This gun is meant to kill people. That's what it's for. And you can't have it anymore. And I'm not even going to tell you how pissed I am that so many folks are saying, well, you can't have what you need for your body. Forget my body. You can't have this gun because it kills people and children, and I'm sick of it. And I think, though, when you're talking...
See, and then when she said you can have your little yeehaw gun, yeah, like that's what I mean. Bill in Idaho can have his little gun or whatever like that. But you don't need a gun that kills 30 people.
No assault rifle. Right.
Yeah, like if you want to go out and hunt, that's fine. If you want to go out and shoot at the range, or you know what I mean, like that's fine. But having a gun that's for military, nobody. First of all, nobody's coming to America. We're the richest company in the world.
Talk about it.
Yeah, and we also spend the most money on military. So nobody's coming to like America to take our land. Who's coming here? You know what I mean? Like China ain't coming in here to try to take our land. So what you need all them guns for?
Facts.
So you don't need guns to kill people. You need, like, I understand for safety because again they are out there. But no, you don't need a gun that just kills 19 children in 2 minutes. You know what I mean? Like that's crazy.
But you know what? The overall theme that I was getting at too, because Whoopi just touched on it just a little bit. She's like, forget my body for a second. Let's talk about the guns. But they go hand in hand. It's rich, white, racist men that are trying to police the rest of the population. Period.
Exactly. That's true. And it's been that way for 400 years.
Yes. Yes.
Even longer. You know what I mean? It's and the time now is they slowly see it coming to an end. You know what I mean? So that's why they're living in scarcity now. They think that we're going to do what they did to us. You know what I mean? They think that we're going to make them the slaves, or we're going to come lynch them, or we're going to, you know what I mean? Like, or we're going to discriminate against them. It's not the case. No. But that a lot of these politicians and a lot of people keep them in. Like him talking right now, Greg Stube, like, who cares? Like, who cares if you can't have your gun? There's children dying, and it's like, when it's not going to hit home until it's your kid, or it's your kid's school, or it's your family. Like, they don't really care, because sometimes it's like a third world to them. You know what I mean? That's not their world that they live in. They live in the middle of Idaho somewhere, and this stuff is happening in the big cities where they're not at. So.
And a lot of that misconception is like, if they don't go into the cities, and everything that they're seeing on the media depicts cities in a certain way, they're not going to give a rat's ass about what people like us are feeling or thinking about the overall laws and safety of our fellow Americans. But everything you're putting on is right on point. Like, I don't get. I did share this one clip on the Leon Block's Instagram page. You can go check it out, the Leon Block _official, where I can't remember the politician's name. Goodness forgive me. But let me see if I can. He's literally talking about feral pigs, and that's the reason.
Oh yeah, I posted that on my page. It's on my page. Yeah. It's I go back to it. Yeah, and he got that from a meme. It was a meme. Like, if you go to my page, I posted the meme too. So I don't know if you can scroll like through the post. I posted that on, what day was that? All right, here it goes. It was May 27th.
Got you. These people.
It's Bill Cassidy from Louisiana. So like, again, they're trying. We have too many people. Too many old white men still trying to please old white men, and the country is past old white men. That's why we're all woke now. There it goes right there, and we're all woke now. And go ahead, you can play it.
In this country, why does someone need an AR-15?
Well, if you talk to the people that own it, killing feral pigs in the middle of Louisiana, they wonder, why would you take it away from them? I'm law-abiding. I've never done anything. I used it to kill feral pigs. The action of a criminal deprives me of my right.
You gotta be kidding me.
And I don't know if you can like scroll through the post, but like I don't know if I posted it on Facebook, so it might be just on Instagram. But yeah, because you only can post videos on Facebook, so sometimes I don't put. But anyway, it came from a meme. Like it was a meme in 2019 about people saying like, "Oh, how can I kill these pigs in my yard?" And Smile's like, "Oh, get an AR-15." So
Lord have mercy.
So he's basically reciting a meme, and like, again, that's ridiculous. Like, I don't care if Bill in the middle of Louisiana needs to kill some feral pigs. He can get a regular gun. What's wrong with a regular gun? A regular gun is not going to shoot a pig.
I know people. I'm sure there's people out there that don't need. How did they kill pigs before guns?
Hello.
That's my question. You know. My point, though, what I'm really worried about, what I think we need, just like I feel like police need mental health professionals assisting them, especially when it comes to like mental health calls. I also feel that politics in anywhere in DC, any politician needs to be evaluated, and they also need some kind of scientist and fact checker on every single meeting that they have,
Right.
because this is ridiculous. They should be fact checked at every turn. There is no every single, and I'll sit here and like, I do watch a lot of Newsday Mod. I'm not even going to kid you, but I watch like I generally just watch like Democracy Now! And PBS
Right.
NewsHour and like a couple like world stuff, but just to get an understanding of what's going on. So like I'll let it just rock, and these Congress and Senate hearings will come up on my YouTube. So I'm not necessarily purposely going to it, but it happens to come on, and it'll be background noise for me as I'm doing work. So I'll end up hearing certain things, and I'm like, did this person just say that? Who? Let me see who this
Right.
is. What the hell? And they really will say off the wall stuff that clearly
stuff.
Yes, and I'm like, this cannot be our country.
And the thing is, we do have fact checks. We do have like CNN or people things who do fact check and go behind people. The thing is that we have people so twisted up in racism and things like that they don't even believe it. You know what I mean? Like, how many times have Trump lied? You know what I mean? What happened to the wall? What happened to Mexico paying for it? What happened to any of the things that he said he was going to do that he didn't accomplish? Like, you know, what happened to abolishing Obamacare and things like that? Like, people are living in their own world, and it's sad. Like you can go back and fact check, but they gonna believe what they want to believe. It's the mindset of scarcity, and it's like you need somebody almost to go out to these communities and yell at them. You know what I mean? I don't know if you ever watched like restaurant bar rescue or like or anything like Gordon Ramsay or somebody like that. Like, you need to, like, somebody needs to be out in these communities or putting it out there. Like, the reason why it's not changing is because you are doing the same thing. You know what I mean? It's like insanity. So if you keep doing the same things over and over, you're going to keep getting the same result. If you keep Mitch McConnell in there for 30 something years, nothing's going to change. You know what I mean? Like, if you keep voting your same exact politician in there, nothing is going to change. And I just think that somebody needs to almost go out and yell at them in their faces, and then and somebody that they can relate to. You know what I mean? Like, we can, like, even Black people, like, if you ever look up Gary Chambers, like, I posted him a couple times, but if you look up Gary Chambers, he's running in Louisiana, and he's yelling at the Black people. He's like, yeah, we got too comfortable. You know what I mean? Like, we need somebody almost yelling at people, because now we think that we need almost a reality show president, or we need a reality show type of
that's the new standard.
Like, and it's like Trump made that. Trump made we need somebody who's a show person almost to run the country, and it's like, no, we need someone who is smart and
we need somebody real.
Yeah, like, and exactly, like somebody, and that's what like somebody from the hood or something, like, you know what I mean, somebody who's been through the struggle. That's why I like the AOCs and stuff like that, because she was just a waitress. Like, we need somebody who was a person, you know what I mean, and not some celebrity. Or we don't need somebody who was a politician their whole life and grifted off the government. And
so, you know who I think is a great example of how problematic this is and why we need a big flush is Nina Turner. That is a current politician that I like fully support and love. I absolutely love her.
Right.
That is one person that if I was in Cleveland particularly, I would vote for her, but she lost this election.
Right.
And that is, obviously because so many, the opposition, so many politicians and corporate interests poured money into that opposition so that Nina Turner would not get it. And it's like, it's almost discouraging. But for me, maybe for other people, for me personally, it's not, because Nina Turner she's just a force, and she inspired me. But
the thing is, like, with the progressive Black people that we need to be there voting, they're at home sitting there. You know what I mean? Like, we need a way that Black people stop thinking that the government is some weird third party. You know what I mean? That it's like they, and it's never like us or we. And we need to get in there, and it needs to be a we or us. Like, we're going to get in there. We're going to change this. We're going to vote for the block captain down the street. Or, you know what I mean? We're going to vote for such and such from the hood. Everybody know her. You know what I mean? Like Miss Patty down the street. Like that's where we really need to go. And people look at it as like some foreign object. Like, oh, they got money for wars. No, it's us. Like this is our country. You know what I mean? It belongs to all of us just as much as it belongs to them. And we're just not going out there. We're not out there voting. We're not out there doing the things that our ancestors fought for. You know what I mean? There are people who died to vote. And then you get people who say, I'm not going to vote. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm not going to vote because I can't trust no politicians. I'm like, well, who did you give your money to? Or who did you big up? You know what I mean? Like with Andrew Yang kind of made me think like, okay, like I donated to his campaign and things like that. Like he might not be well liked in the news and things like that, but his platform made sense. You know what I mean?
But you did the research, you looked it up, you're a concerned citizen, and you found someone that aligned with you. So that's someone that's doing the work. I don't care. Like for me personally, I have a reason to say why I choose not to vote right now. It doesn't mean I don't have just any old willy-nilly reason. I do my research. I look around. I ask questions. And that's all I'm urging other people. If you're saying that you don't vote or you're not going to vote, I'm perfectly cool with that. But tell me why.
Right. I just think that we have to, like, I think that we're never going to really get a person that, like I said earlier, like that we like 100% like, you know what I mean, or we agree with, or that we think that's going to get everything done that they say. I just think that we need to. It's a long run. Like we've been enslaved for 300 years and oppressed for another 100 years. And it's almost like you got to put yourself in the slavery time shoes. So it's like, imagine if they just didn't do anything and just said, oh, hopefully it's just going to change. Hopefully one day we're not going to be slaves. You know what I mean? They did say that, but
but I also feel like we're on a seesaw right now. And I feel like we're on a seesaw right now, and I just want to stop seesawing and get off and like hop on the swing.
Yeah, and the seesaw is because they count on Black people not paying attention. You know what I mean? They count on us not going to the midterm. That's why if you watch the news now, Republicans are all over like, oh, we're going to win these midterms. We're going to win. We're going to, you know what I mean? Like they know they're going to win because it's a cycle. You know what I mean? Like the Black people come out to vote for president, but they don't come out and vote for the midterms. Like and the numbers show.
But we're not educated in it, and you know that's part of the problem too. Right? We're not educated on these things, and they bank on that shit. That's why they put so much money into primaries.
Yep.
It's ridiculous.
And it's like that's why another reason for my page is like we need to point the fingers, you know what I mean, and get the people out there and tell people when it's time and what to do. Is like we gotta engage the people somehow, because watching C-SPAN or you know what I mean, is old white men are boring. So we have to
like Michael Freeman said, we need a reason to get up and do this. And I think with everything going on right now, especially with reproductive rights under attack, because that does not just affect women, it affects all of us.
Black women the most.
Exactly. Oh my goodness, I need to find. Oh my goodness, there is this clip from this Black woman who wrote this book. It's amazing, and she really breaks it down, really speaking to how gynecology in general has went from being handled by 100% run, owned by women of color and indigenous women for hundreds of years up until the 50s, really. And it was a corporate takeover, like overnight, by white men. How did we get here? And I think, I feel like it's a big issue for us to look at. But again, like I said, the overall issue is the white patriarchal supremacist society that we all know we live in, the colonist society. That's true. But when you look at that and you look at the shootings, these are really, really good reasons to get people involved as to why changes need to be made. And there is no going back to saying, okay, we're not gonna talk about this again until like something else happens, or we're gonna be outraged again. Are we just gonna continue to be outraged, or are we gonna make changes to make things happen? Because
exactly,
there's moments in our history where we spent like a few years and several years at points in times making like several and like radical changes to our country. And I think it's high time that we do that again. Like
we need kind of like one thing that like black people lack. Like, you know, I love black people. I'm pro black, everything. You know what I mean? But like one thing we lack is like a common goal.
Yes.
So, or we lack a commonality. So like most of us, we all want different things. You know what I mean? You can't go to one black person and they want the same thing as the next. And not saying white people have that, but they kind of have that. You know what I mean? Like,
well,
and
you know what?
And it's not. Yeah, I was going to say it's not our fault that we have these. You know what I mean?
Right.
We have these differences, but it's the way it is. But nowadays, we're in a different age. Like we're in an information age where
we're smarter than that.
Yeah, and anybody can get anything and read anything at any time. Like our moms and dads, like they didn't have the internet. So they only knew what was on the news. They only knew what was on the local paper. They didn't know really what was going on around the world, and unless what one news station or two news stations told them. You know what I mean? Or they heard in the streets.
Right.
Nowadays that we can see what's happening around the world and everywhere. So it's like exactly. There's no excuse not to do anything now. Like there's like you see what's happening. Like,
it's like if you're scrolling on your Facebook, you spend 5 minutes to an hour or two before bed, in your bed, when you wake up, whatever, on your phone scrolling, like you could scroll real quick to see what's going on in your hood, or like who's getting elected, or who you need to check up on and see, like, should I be voting for this person? Should I be putting money into this person? Whatever the case may be, like, there really is no excuse to not know what's going on, especially speaking to, again, reproductive rights, because I feel like that is the start of it all. Like it extends into the gun rights topic as well. Like it has to do with controlling our rights in our bodies. Do you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I feel like if we start with reproductive rights, that's something that's been going on for several years now that they've been attacking us with. And it's finally at a point where things are really going to hit the fan this year. If we don't stand up and do something now, like, what are we not going to stand for anything? We're just going to let our country be eroded away by this huge wave of our rights, like if we have much as it is, you know.
Unfortunately, the thing is, it might take that. You know what I mean? Like it's a sad picture. It's a sad picture, but it might take that. Like it might take when Keisha has to go get an abortion and she can't. You know what I mean? Like she might be like, oh damn. You know what I mean? Like or such and such can't do whatever they think what they used to do. And it's like, oh damn, somebody woke up now. You know what I mean? Like, well, how did we get to this point? You know what I mean? Like people can get abortions for 50 years and now now you can't. Mm-hmm. And it's like, were you paying attention to that, or are you worried about whose baby's mom was next?
That's a good point. Because I was talking to somebody the other day on a hike, and they were saying they was like telling some girl, they were talking to some girl about abortion, and the young girl had to have been like 22, 23, a young girl.
Right.
He's like, I don't like, so I really won't be able to like get an abortion? Is that what you're saying? And my friend was like, yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, how do you not understand this? Your rights are going to be severely limited if this happens. And it, like, the girl, like, to her, she was like deer in headlights. It like she was like, oh my god, like, yes.
Don't talk to us about looting. Y'all the looters. America has looted black people. America looted the Native Americans when
I'm like, God, no matter what it is, give me. They don't want us to succeed.
Black Lives Matter all day, every day.
All day, every day.